the diver who came face to face with the monster. During the uncertain years of the Second World War, a man whose name has since been lost to time reportedly came face to face with one of the greatest mysteries ever whispered about in Scotland, the legendary Loch Ness monster. The account came from a quiet, humble man who rarely spoke of his experiences. He bore a facial disfigurement from his time as a pilot whose plane was brought down during the war. After months of recovery, he was offered an administrative position, but such work was not suited to his nature. His superiors, noticing his old diving certificates hanging on the wall, suggested he return to the water. It was this decision, perhaps a fateful one, that would lead him to an encounter that changed him forever. One of his assignments took him to Loch Ness, a body of water already steeped in folklore and legend. His task was practical and routine, to carry out underwater work along a section of the loch's wall. Equipped with lights and full diving gear, he descended into the dark, cold waters. The visibility was poor, the kind of murk that seemed to swallow light whole, but he was used to the eerie quiet of the deep. It was while working in near silence that he noticed movement above him, a shadow gliding slowly across the dim light filtering from the surface. At first, he assumed it was the vessel from which he had descended, perhaps repositioning itself. But when he glanced upward, the view through his goggles filled entirely with the dark outline of something massive, alive, and impossibly close. He froze, his heartbeat thundering in his chest as he tried to comprehend what he was seeing. The creature hovered above him, its presence overwhelming, its shape unlike anything he had ever seen in all his years beneath the waves. He waited, motionless, as the vast form drifted forward, its silhouette shifting with the fluid grace of something accustomed to the deep. As it moved, he realized the truth. This was no man-made object, no trick of shadow or illusion. Gathering his courage, he began to ascend carefully, shining his light downwards in an effort to catch one last glimpse of what he had seen. That was when the beam revealed the unmistakable outline of a long neck extending from a large body, gliding through the black water with an otherworldly elegance. The creature, he said, resembled the classic plesiosaur form often associated with the creature, long-necked, with powerful fins propelling it through the depths. He described how it moved, even mimicking the motion with his hands when he later recounted the event. Its sheer size dwarfed him, and its movements were silent and deliberate, as though aware of his presence but indifferent to it. When he finally broke the surface, gasping for breath, he kept what he had witnessed to himself for many years. It was not until long after the war, while working as an insurance agent for the Prudential, that he quietly shared the story. He mentioned it casually to a family whose home he visited to collect payments, speaking to a young child who happened to be reading an encyclopedia filled with illustrations of ancient creatures. Seeing a picture of an ancient reptile seemed to trigger the memory, and he told the story as though unburdening a secret long kept in silence. Those who knew him described him as a deeply sincere man, religious, private, and gentle. His appearance, marked by the scars of war, had made him shy away from attention, preferring to blend into the background. He was not one for tall tales or dramatic claims. The quiet conviction in his voice and the vivid detail of his description left an impression on those who heard him. There was no embellishment, no attempt to impress, only the steady recollection of an extraordinary moment that had haunted him ever since. To this day, his story stands as one of the most compelling personal accounts of an underwater encounter with the mysterious creature said to inhabit Loch Ness. The mysterious oil rig encounter. Among the countless tales shared by those who make their living beneath the waves, few carry the quiet, unnerving power of the story told by a professional diver who once worked alongside a seasoned deep-sea welder. What began as a casual exchange between two experienced men of the ocean soon turned into an unsettling confession that would forever change the way one of them viewed the sea. The welder, a man known for his skill and composure under extreme pressure, revealed that a single encounter during his years of underwater work had left him questioning not only his safety, but the very limits of human understanding. He had spent much of his career working on underwater oil rigs, welding and maintaining the massive metal structures that sit silently on the ocean floor. The job demanded precision, focus, and the ability to remain calm under conditions that would overwhelm most people. He was no stranger to the strange and the unexpected. Over the years, he had seen massive squid, curious sharks, and deep-sea fish that glowed in the dark. But none of those encounters prepared him for what he would one day meet during what should have been an ordinary assignment. The project was a large-scale maintenance operation on an oil rig and its connecting pipelines, deep below the ocean's surface. The diver explained that every member of the team had specific roles to follow, each one vital to the mission's success. On the 5th day of work, he began his shift as usual, descending into the cold, dark waters. The visibility was poor, typical of those depths, yet he had worked in worse. About 20 minutes into the dive, he suddenly felt pressure against his back, as though something heavy was brushing against him. His first thought was that another diver had drifted too close, but when he turned, there was no one there. The water around him was empty, eerily still. A strange unease began to creep over him. He tried to dismiss it, focusing instead on his work, but the sensation returned. He could feel something pressing against him again, unseen, but very real. He scanned the shadows, searching for a rational explanation. The area around the rig often attracted schools of fish, drawn by the light and structure. He thought that perhaps it was only a large fish passing by. But then, through the murky water, he saw it. At first, it was just a faint outline, a shifting, fluid shape gliding silently through the gloom. As it drew nearer, he realized it was like nothing he had ever seen before. It resembled a colossal squid, but its movements were too deliberate, too controlled. Its skin shimmered with waves of color that pulsed and changed rhythmically, casting an otherworldly glow through the darkness. As he watched, he felt a strange calm wash over him, followed by an overwhelming inability to move. The creature seemed to radiate energy, a hypnotic pulse that gripped his mind and body. Though fully conscious, he found himself paralyzed, watching helplessly as it drifted closer. Its enormous tentacles undulated with slow, deliberate grace. He described feeling as though time itself had slowed, as if the creature's colors were speaking in a silent, incomprehensible language. He was frozen, not by fear alone, but by something far more powerful, a force he could neither see nor resist. When the being came within 10 feet, its luminous hues began to fade, and its form seemed to stabilize. At that moment, he regained control of his body. Without hesitation, he pushed himself away, his heart pounding in his chest. The creature paused, then slowly retreated into the dark, vanishing as silently as it had appeared. He described the return of movement as abrupt, like awakening from a deep sleep. Yet the relief was fleeting. Moments later, a wave of intense pain surged through his skull. The headache that followed, he said, lasted for over a week. Sharp, throbbing, and unlike anything he had experienced before. When he resurfaced, disoriented and shaken, he told no one what had happened. The other divers had been working in separate sections of the rig, their vision obscured by massive equipment. No one else had seen the creature. Despite his extensive experience identifying marine life, he was certain that what he had encountered was not a squid, nor any species known to science. Its size alone dwarfed anything he had ever seen in those waters, and its ability to immobilize him without contact was beyond explanation. Years later, when recounting the story to his colleague, he confessed that the event had profoundly changed him. The ocean, once his place of mastery and peace, had become a realm of mystery and dread. The encounter had left an invisible mark, a deep respect for the vast, unknowable world beneath the surface. Though he continued to research what he had seen, he never found an answer that satisfied him. In the end, the diver's story remains one of the ocean's many unsolved mysteries. The strange encounter with the Oklahoma octopus. In the quiet, murky depths of Oklahoma's lakes, a chilling legend has taken root, one that continues to stir both fascination and fear among locals. Known as the Oklahoma octopus, this mysterious creature is said to dwell in several of the state's freshwater lakes, including Lake Thunderbird, Lake Tenkiller, and Lake Ologa. Described as a massive reddish-brown cephalopod with long, powerful tentacles, the Oklahoma octopus has become one of the region's most unsettling mysteries. Though skeptics dismiss the stories as mere folklore, those who have encountered it speak with conviction, insisting that something strange truly lurks beneath the surface. According to numerous accounts, the Oklahoma octopus measures anywhere between 6 and 15 feet in length. Its appearance is marked by a slick, leathery texture and extraordinary strength, strong enough, some say, to drag a full-grown person beneath the waves. Despite Oklahoma being a landlocked state, far from any saltwater environment where octopuses normally thrive, the legend has persisted. Some locals believe the creature may be a prehistoric species that adapted over millennia to survive in fresh water, while others connect its origins to ancient Native American folklore that spoke of water spirits dwelling in the depths, known for pulling the unwary into the dark. The legend gained modern traction in the early 2000s, following a string of strange drownings and unexplained disappearances in several Oklahoma lakes. Many began to wonder if something unnatural was responsible. One of the earliest reported encounters came in the summer of 2003, when a group of teenagers swimming in Lake Thunderbird noticed a large shadow gliding beneath them. Initially dismissing it as driftwood, panic soon spread when the dark mass moved against the current. One swimmer, Karen Thompson, recalled feeling a sudden brush against her leg, followed by a painful suctioning grip. When she scrambled out of the water, her calf bore strange, circular marks resembling the suckers of an octopus. In 2008, an experienced diver named Mark Henson and his team were exploring the depths of Lake Tenkiller when they too encountered something inexplicable. Amid the murky waters, Henson spotted what appeared to be a large living shape moving swiftly across the lake bed. Thinking it might be an unusually big catfish, he swam closer, only to see long, undulating limbs stretching out from the shape. Realizing he was looking at something far beyond any known freshwater animal, he and his team retreated to the surface in shock. Their account, later supported by two of the divers present, reignited debate about what might truly inhabit Oklahoma's waters. A few years later, in 2012, local fisherman Earl Mitchell added fuel to the growing fire of speculation. While night fishing on Lake Uloga, he claimed to have experienced a sudden and violent tug on his line, nearly pulling him overboard. He described seeing a massive tentacle break the surface before his line snapped, leaving him trembling and speechless. Mitchell's story quickly spread among local anglers, many of whom reported similar encounters of strange disturbances in the water and missing catches that were ripped clean off their hooks. Perhaps the most detailed modern account came from a respected fisherman and diver named Tom Harris in the summer of 2015. Tom had spent over 2 decades exploring Oklahoma's lakes and knew their depths as well as anyone. On a warm July afternoon, he ventured out for a solo dive in Lake Tenkiller, equipped with his camera and diving knife. For nearly half an hour, the dive went smoothly as he documented the lake's underwater plant life and fish. Then, from the corner of his eye, he noticed a dark silhouette emerging from the shadows. Curious, Tom approached slowly, his camera rolling. As the figure took shape, he saw what he could only describe as a gigantic octopus-like creature. Its large, bulbous body shimmered with a reddish-brown hue that blended perfectly with the lake bed. Long tentacles extended outward, wrapping around rocks and vegetation. Before he could react, one of the appendages shot toward him, gripping his leg with tremendous force. In a desperate act, Tom used his knife to free himself and swam for the surface. When he emerged, gasping and terrified, he bore the unmistakable suction marks on his leg. Proof, he believed, that he had come face to face with the Oklahoma octopus. Tom's account, along with his recovered footage, reignited both local and national interest in the legend. While skeptics continued to argue that the creature could not exist in freshwater, others pointed to his story and the growing number of unexplained drownings as compelling evidence that something truly unusual was taking place. Some researchers proposed that the creature might be an undiscovered species, perhaps a remnant of prehistoric aquatic life that adapted to survive in the lakes after the ancient seas receded from North America. For many in Oklahoma, the legend of the Oklahoma octopus has become part of the state's cultural identity, an enduring mystery that blurs the line between myth and reality. Whether it is an undiscovered animal, a relic of ancient times, or something beyond human understanding, its story continues to ripple across generations. Fishermen still whisper about it when the lakes are still and the sun begins to set. Divers descend into the depths with both excitement and trepidation, wondering if the legend might someday emerge from the shadows once more. The mystery of the Oklahoma octopus endures, its truth concealed beneath the waters of the heartland, waiting perhaps for the next brave soul to venture too deep. The Lake Baikal humanoids. Lake Baikal, the oldest and deepest lake in the world, is located in Siberia and was used for regular training exercises by Russian Navy divers in the late 1980s. However, the findings they made during one of their dives were far from ordinary. Multiple divers reported witnessing mysterious humanoid beings, igniting significant curiosity and conjecture over their observations. Siberia, a Russian province, has been a lengthy location where UFO sightings and interactions with alien beings have been reported for numerous generations. One of the noteworthy places in Siberia where such occurrences have been witnessed is Lake Baikal. This extensive expanse of water is famous for its distinctive environment that supports a plethora of uncommon species. The swimmers in Lake Baikal once caused panic among Russian Navy divers because of their formidable strength, which unfortunately led to the deaths of 3 divers as a result of decompression sickness. The Lake Baikal swimmers are a group of aquatic humanoid creatures that encountered Russian naval divers in 1982, evoking curiosity and fascination. This fascinating encounter took place during a typical military diving mission at a depth of 50 meters, which is comparable to 164 feet. The divers were suddenly captivated by the presence of a strange entity sharing the waters with them. The divers recorded observations of humanoid beings with extended bodies measuring up to 3 meters or 9 feet in length. In addition to their immense size, the divers discovered several indications suggesting that the entities they encountered were of extraterrestrial origin. These humanoid beings were distinct from anything observed on Earth, arousing curiosity and conjecture regarding their source and intention. The pictured creatures were distinguished by their silver contours, with select entities embellished with transparent orbs on their heads. These orbs have been compared to the visual representation of an unfurled umbrella positioned above the creatures' heads. This description provides a comprehensive portrayal of the figures, highlighting their unique characteristics that differentiate them from others. Upon resurfacing from the profound depths of Lake Baikal, the divers expeditiously communicated their astounding finding to a superior official. As a reply, the commander directed the divers to submerge again into the frigid waters and apprehend one of these mysterious marine creatures. A group of 7 courageous divers ventured into the lake once more, encountering the Lake Baikal swimmers. These swimmers demonstrated remarkable power by forcefully forcing the Soviet divers back to the surface. This extraordinary meeting not only demonstrated the divers' ability to recover quickly from difficulties, but also emphasized the incredible skills possessed by these elusive aquatic species inhabiting the depths of Lake Baikal. The insufficient presence of decompression chambers along the coastline led to a terrible scenario where all 7 divers could not be accommodated, resulting in 3 unfortunate divers succumbing to decompression sickness, also referred to as caisson disease or the bends. This sad episode represented a fatal shift in the attempts to communicate with the Lake Baikal swimmers. The insufficient allocation of resources to satisfy decompression requirements left the divers vulnerable to the lethal repercussions of their fall into the depths. Nikolai Kiriv, a fisherman residing in the picturesque village of Kultuk, has recently regaled local historians with a captivating narrative, recalling a memorable fishing expedition from the 1990s. According to Kiriv, while fishing at night with his friends, they witnessed a spectacular and puzzling sight. Supposedly, as they were fishing at night, they were amazed to see unusual events happening in the calm lake waters. Within the expansive Lake Baikal, the fishermen had a profound sense of trepidation when they encountered mysterious monsters that posed a threat of capsizing their boats, thereby submerging them into the frigid depths. The crew made a desperate attempt to catch one of these elusive silver creatures by using large nets in the cold waters. However, they quickly returned to the safety of the beach, feeling disturbed by the strange experience. Their frightening encounter had a profound impact on their minds, deterring them from ever returning to that specific region of Lake Baikal. Furthermore, apart from the evidence already provided, there is a folklore tale about a local farmer who shared a story with a traveler about legendary pharaohs living in the vicinity of the lake. According to the local legends, these pharaohs who lived in the lake were thought to have deliberately caused a boat to drown. This led the locals to respond by throwing nets into the water and managing to bring over 50 of these pharaohs onto the shore. This folklore not only enhances the local legends with an aura of mystery, but also exemplifies the deeply ingrained beliefs and habits that are widespread among the locals in that area. According to ancient tradition, pharaohs were supposed to have a humanoid form with heads, arms, hands, and legs, but they also possessed paws and a fishtail. According to legend, the locals allegedly used birch rods to whip the pharaohs and then threw them back into the lake. This punitive action was not solely corporeal. It conveyed a potent symbolic significance. The pharaohs disappeared from the region, never to be witnessed again. The reports concerning the presence of humanoid beings have not been officially confirmed or refuted by the authorities. These reports have generated a substantial amount of curiosity and fascination within the paranormal world. Several theories have arisen to elucidate the origins of these humanoid beings. There is speculation that these occurrences could be the result of covert tests carried out by the government. However, alternative viewpoints suggest that these things might be of extraterrestrial origin, coming from outer space, or perhaps remains of a lost ancient civilization. The mysterious organism 46b. Organism 46b is said to inhabit Lake Vostok, which is situated at a depth of almost 700 feet beneath the glacial surface of the ice in its shallowest section and around 2,600 feet at its deepest region. At this particular depth, the ice from the Antarctic glaciers experiences sufficient pressure to undergo melting and give rise to profound lakes. Organism 46b dwells within Lake Vostok, one of these deep lakes. An allegedly leaked paper pertaining to the initial endeavors conducted by Russian researchers on February 5, 2012, during their drilling expedition to the lake's surface, mentioned the existence of a species identified as Organism 46b. The report, titled Organism 46b, described a peculiar account by Russian scientists who allegedly came across a colossal squid of immense proportions residing in the lake. According to the report, this creature had the ability to release toxins into the water, compress its body into smaller dimensions, assume unusual shapes, alter its physical colors, and induce a mild form of hypnotism if observed for an extended period of time. Here are quotes from the supposed letter written by a man named Dr. Anton Padalka. We encountered Organism 46b on our first day. It disabled our radio, which we later learned, to our alarm, was intentional. It's also able to paralyze prey from a distance of up to 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water. Tragically, my colleague and lifelong friend was taken out this way. He was treading water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. It was as if it had hypnotized him telepathically. It shaped itself into the form of a human diver. We thought it was one of my colleagues swimming towards us in scuba gear. By the time the closest scientist had realized what it was, it had grabbed him and torn him to bits. End quote. According to certain versions of the narrative, it is said that one of the creature's tentacles was amputated, but later regained animation and strangled another team member. According to the legend, only a small number of individuals from the expedition survived, and Russian officials apprehended the creature in an effort to conceal the incident. Although Organism 46b possesses extraordinary skills, its reported characteristics closely resemble those of real-world squid and octopus beings. Each capacity attributed to Organism 46b aligns well with the abilities observed in deep-sea cephalopods, which inhabit an environment characterized by comparable conditions of light, pressure, and water quality. This analysis of the possible capacity for telepathic abilities in the creature, as well as a scientific explanation of how this talent could be understood. Comprehending the telepathic capabilities of Organism 46b is a challenging and almost unattainable task, given that the mechanics behind telepathy remain mostly elusive in contemporary times. Nevertheless, it is possible to speculate about the factors that could potentially account for the telepathic skills of certain marine species based on assumptions and available evidence. It is crucial to acknowledge that there is much evidence and scientific research in the field of neuroscience, which aims to decode the seemingly random electrical impulses of neurons into usable information that can be shown or comprehended. In 1999, a research investigation conducted by Dan Yang at the University of California, Berkeley, effectively replicated a cat's visual perception of the real world using raw data obtained from visual neurons. The utilization of poisons derived from organism 46b appears to be based on actual instances of cephalopods employing minute quantities of deadly toxins in contemporary times. The blue-ringed octopus is a small octopus, approximately the size of a golf ball, that possesses a potent venom capable of causing the death of 26 adult males if injected. The blue-ringed octopus possesses various peculiar talents, including the capacity for jet propulsion. It achieves this by channeling water, enabling it to move significantly faster in the water than other marine species. Organism 46b may potentially exhibit these skills and have the capability to expel poison, similar to an ink sac, in order to immobilize larger species. This is assuming the veracity of the size of the creature. If the assertions regarding organism 46b are to be accepted as true, the creature possesses the subsequent capabilities that have enabled it to eliminate multiple persons within an exceptionally brief period.